Good morning, everyone. It's Tuesday, April 13th. From the San Antonio Express News, my name is Luis Vasquez, and this is your Express Briefing. All of the stories you need to know to start your day. You can expect partly sunny skies, possible morning thunderstorms, and a high of 81 degrees in San Antonio today. The police officer who fatally shot 20-year-old Dante Wright, a black man, during a traffic stop in Minneapolis on Sunday, apparently intended to fire a taser, not a handgun, as the man struggled with police, according to the city's police chief. Family, friends, and admirers of Ron Snyder, credited with bringing new energy to downtown New Braunfels with the reinvigorated Krause's Cafe, will gather at Krause's tonight for a memorial to Toast Snyder, who died April 2nd at the age of 70. Express News subscribers, the ball's in your court. Head over to expressnews.com to enter for a chance to win tickets to the San Antonio home team basketball game on May 2nd. And now let's move on to our top stories for the day. President Joe Biden's infrastructure plan includes $50 billion to fortify states against future extreme weather events, such as the droughts, floods, and hurricanes that caused up to $200 billion in damage in Texas over the past decade. Texas was hammered by 67 major weather disasters from 2010 to 2020, more than any other state in the nation, according to NOAA. The data does not include the deadly winter storm that killed nearly 200 Texans and caused billions in damage. Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg pointed to the storm that left millions of Texans without power for days as an example for the need to make infrastructure more resilient to increasingly severe weather. But Republicans say the massive spending package directs too little to infrastructure projects, accusing the administration of deception in its campaign for the package. Benjamin Wormund has more in his latest story. The Texas Senate is considering a bill that would bar transgender girls from competing in girls' interscholastic sports, and the NCAA is watching. The NCAA has 3 Final Fours and a college football championship planned for Texas in the next 4 years. But those agreements are at risk if Texas legislators push forward with the legislation. The NCAA allows transgender athletes to participate without limitations. The measure is one of Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick's priority bills this session, and other Republicans say the measure would prevent competitive disadvantages for female athletes. LGBTQ advocates, meanwhile, say the legislation is not only discriminatory, but also dangerous to transgender youth. Jeremy Wallace has more in his latest article. In the last months of her life, Rose Helen Safran was bedridden and dementia had robbed her of the ability to tell richly detailed stories of her beloved homeland of Hungary and a hair-raising escape from communist forces in the 1950s. But the memories of her sacrifice, her deep-rooted faith, and devotion to her heritage remain vivid in the hearts and minds of the many she touched over the years. Safran died on October 19, 2020. She was 100 years old. She had one wish for her funeral, to be buried with the sacred cross she carried when she escaped the communists that invaded her homeland of Hungary 63 years ago. Vincent T. Davis has this story over at expressnews.com. Alec McGillis lives in Baltimore. Tom Philpott lives in Austin. They met virtually at the San Antonio Book Festival to talk about their sobering new books on an increasingly dystopian economy that's exacerbated by several issues, including climate change. At first, their investigative works don't appear to be related, but both illustrate a society in which its people are growing ever distant from one another, and it's not just political. We know how divided we've become, but at the book festival, the authors were asked whether politics fully explains it. Elena Yala played the role of moderator and wrote about the conversation in her latest column. Texas Governor Greg Abbott was on national television over the weekend, pressuring the Biden administration to do more to stem the tide of unaccompanied children coming across the Texas border. Abbott said he believes the nation is going to have a far higher number of children in detention facilities this summer than the 35,000 the federal government is projecting. Asked what Biden could do, Abbott told Fox News Sunday host Chris Wallace that he has 3 ideas that would work. We have those ideas over at expressnews.com. Next up are your need-to-know headlines. You can find all of these headlines and more inside of your Express News subscription. Suicides across the armed services rose sharply in the first year of the coronavirus, hitting a record 571 in 2020. But a Pentagon official and others say the stress of the pandemic isn't the likely culprit. San Antonio is rolling out a COVID-19 vaccine registry to the public on Wednesday, after months of some officials resisting an idea that many other cities and states have adopted. We have everything you need to know about that list over at expressnews.com. The Bexar County Medical Examiner's Office has identified 2 people found dead of an apparent murder-suicide inside of a Northside home last week. Police are searching for a suspect after a bicyclist was found shot dead near downtown early Monday morning. 19 coronavirus cases were confirmed in 2 fifth-grade classrooms at Boerne ISD Elementary School late last month, among the largest outbreaks reported in any area school since the pandemic began. Demolitions of buildings at a long-vacant industrial site on the east side could begin this summer. Dallas-based Provident Realty Advisors plans to construct a 358-unit apartment complex at the site of the Friedrich Complex. In a major shakeup, the union that represents San Antonio police officers is staying out of the mayor's race for now. A network of Texas community organizers is calling on state leaders to offer financial aid to families affected by February's devastating winter storm. The U.S. cut its carbon dioxide emissions by 11% last year, but that trend could reverse in 2021 as COVID-19 recedes and economic activity gains momentum. The jury that will decide whether to send a man to the death chamber for shooting a San Antonio police detective has been chosen, and a trial date set for July. Prosecutors will seek the death penalty for Otis McCain, who is accused of killing Detective Benjamin Marconi. Governor Greg Abbott claimed there was twice as many children in Border Patrol custody under President Joe Biden than the 2019 peak under President Donald Trump. We have the fact checked on the governor's tweet over at expressnews.com. The Biden administration has secured agreements with Mexico, Honduras, and Guatemala to increase troops on their borders as the White House works to find ways to stem the flow of migration to the United States. Delivering the Word is Jarrell Flowers' calling. Known by his first name, the artist conveys his message through spoken word and thought-provoking hip-hop songs such as In God We Trust, a duet with artist Eric Hilge Hilgers. He also shares his faith by providing a community hub for local and up-and-coming artists. Check out his story in Vincent T. Davis' latest article. The Greyhounds face Huffman Hargrave in the 4A state semifinals at 7 p.m. Boerne is one of 2 area teams remaining in the playoffs. Lee takes on Houston Jersey Village in a Class 6A state semifinal at 7 p.m. Read more about the teams over at expressnews.com. The Dallas Wings, who have the first 2 selections in Thursday's draft, are expected to keep Texas's Charlie Collier in her home state. This week, Paul Stephen is busting the myths of organic versus conventional fruits and vegetables. We have everything you need to know about the conventionally grown fruits and veggies that are almost pesticide-free and can save you money. Many of this week's entertainment highlights are online or on screens, but the most innovative is a house float parade that will get you out of the house. Take a peek at that parade over at expressnews.com. The Spurs arrived in Dallas mired in a 5-game losing streak, their longest of the season. Thanks mainly to DeMar DeRozan, they headed to Orlando on Monday with a chance at starting a winning streak. And that's all for today. This was your Express Briefing for Tuesday, April 13th. My name is Luis Vasquez. Please consider becoming an Express News subscriber to get in-depth coverage on all the stories you heard today. Also, be sure to rate and review this podcast inside of your Apple Podcast app, as it really helps the show. Have a wonderful day, everyone.